Hello and welcome back. This week we're going to have a look at this terrific presentation set, R.644A. This was available between 1969 and 1971, and it came with one of Hornby's R.753 Bobo electric locomotives and 3 passenger coaches with lights, Hornby's new at the time Mark IIs. Really is a terrific box. It is a little bit battered and bruised, but it's done the job over the years. It has protected the contents very, very well. Just look along here. It's been taped shut a number of times, I imagine, there. And there's the accessories that could be bought. What a terrific idea, putting those on the edge of the box. Really terrific thing to have, I think. Presentation sets didn't come with track or controllers, so this is just pointing out that if you bought this box, you would need a power controller and track. And then importantly, on this paper label here, apart from the catalogue number, it says if operating from overhead catenary system, a second power controller will be required. This means that if you just had the one power controller, you wouldn't be able to have the lights switched on the coaches, so you need power to the track and power to the overhead to make the locomotive run. And here it's pushing us towards the track plans book, saying we can find more exciting layouts in there. And here we've got some of the track packs which were available there, and their contents. Quite nice little diagrams with that list of track that's required. Really is quite a nice piece of packaging. And just have a swift look at the contents sitting safely in this bright yellow vac form packaging, and there are some wonderful paper labels stuck on there too. Now, all of these items have seen quite a lot of track time. They are worn and played with, but just look at it. Imagine receiving this for your birthday or Christmas and opening it for the first time. Absolutely stunning. Here we have the whole set sitting at the station, just waiting to go. Now we have power to the track, so we have the coaches lit up, waiting for service. Now those coaches are R722 for the second class coach, and R723 for the break first coach at the end. These were available between 1968 and 72. I believe though that the coaches were first available without lighting in 1968. Now we're just getting ready to move off, smoothly out of the siding there, through those points. Just look at the lights flicker slightly as they come across the points. I quite like that. And we're post number 11 after them. Storming down the track there, going past those car transporters. Again, colour temperatures are slightly different on those bulbs. We're back up to the station now, and we'll have a gentle stop. So here we have Hornby's blue and grey Mark II coaches. These came along in around 1968, but without lights I think for the first year, and got lights in 1969, and they remained in the catalogue till 1972 with lights. I believe they went on, but under a different catalogue number. We've got this very crude arrangement for collecting the current. Metal wheels on the one side, plastic on the other. A very heavy wiper there that collects the current from the axles. On the other side, or the other end of the coach, we've got the situation reversed with the metal wheel on the opposite side. A lot of friction created with this setup. They're a very heavy load for the model. And just looking underneath, we've got made in Great Britain. I don't see Hornby's name anywhere on the underneath side, on the underside, sorry, of this model. We'll just pop that one down and have a look at the second class coach. Again, just as battered as the other one. Nice seating detail on the inside. I believe they share the same underframe detail. We'll just have a look down there. There we go, made in Great Britain. Triang's name's not here either. Exactly the same setup with a collection for the lights. Slight bend in that coupling there. And the same detailing on the ends. So I suppose these were a great novelty value at the time, and now really for me as well. I've just removed the 2 very large securing screws from the bottom of the coach. We'll just pop those to one side. So we've taken the top off, and we can now see the seating unit on the inside here, and where the lighting's fitted. There's just 2 fiberboard mounts clipped to the top of the seats, each with a single sort of bubble bulb and that's held into place with the little wires on the ends, just with plastic prongs, just through a little rivet. And very simple. So if I add some power to the track here, we should get the lights to light up. So the cabling just runs around and down to the bogie rivet just there. It's just soldered straight in, and that clip we saw earlier just rests on the bogie rivet and provides current there. So very basic, very simple effect. We'll just have a closer look. Now we can see that fiberboard mount, and just with that bulb just held into place there, just on the wires coming out of the back of it, just with those two plastic little pins there. I'll have a look at the other one. Very, very simple, very effective, although I do imagine it creates rather a lot of heat eventually. You can see the cabling on the other end there. And there's that collection wiper just pressed against the axles and the bogie rivet. We'll just have a look at the underside there. You can see that just soldered on. There's the weight, it seems to be stuck to the bottom side of the seating unit there. We'll just pop that lot down, and we'll have a look at the coach top moulding here. And on the inside we can see the glazing strips just glued straight onto the side of the coach there. We can see the handrail detail just printed onto it. And then we've got these silver foil type stickers just to spread the light, I think, and possibly to try and protect the top of the coach from excess heat. You can see the other side there, that glazing strip just stuck in with the details printed straight on it. Very simple, very effective. We're just waiting to leave the station, and away she goes. Look at the lights flickering as she moves off. I remember being on trains with the lights flickering in the coaches. I don't know whether you do, but I think that's quite realistic. Now storming past those car transporters again, and we're planning to take her onto the passing loop, across points number 9 through the diamond crossing. We'll see how well behaved she is. Here we go. Smoothly across, not a hitch. Flickering again, and then we'll close those behind her. Now we're going to bring her around up to the signal, and we'll bring her to a gentle stop. Looking terrific coming under those gantries there. Nice and smoothly. And a gentle stop there. While we're waiting for the signals to change, we'll just have a look down the train. That beautiful model there in that rail blue livery of the late 60s. Looking down those coaches with the lights blazing away there. We have power to the track and no power to the overhead at present. And I think we'll just take the time to have a look at the locomotive while we're waiting for the signals to change. This model has its roots dating back to Hornby 00 in 1966, when Triangle and Hornby 00 merged together. Now, I think the earlier version of this with the white cab roofs was far prettier than this, but in keeping with the times in the late 60s, this ultra modern looking locomotive would have looked really terrific, I think. Now, I believe in this livery it was available from 1969 to 1972. Although I think in 1968 it was available briefly in electric blue. Both of the cab ends on this model are painted up in this wonderfully bright yellow. Great big round buffers, trans D-shaped coupling. There's very minimal detail moulded into the end of this cab. We've got possibly handrails and lights and a sticky paper label for the code there. We've got the number here, E3001, and lovely handrails at both sides of the door. They're recessed into the moulding. They are quite pretty, those. We've got the metal sprung working pantograph, louvered vents right the way down the model. The other cab end seems to be pretty much identical to me, but looking down this side of the model we have several glazed windows instead of those louvered vents. We have the metal motor bogie here, and there's plenty of detail to be had along here. We've got springs and all sorts, and the ladders even nearly line up with the cab door. And at this end of the model we've got the dummy bogie. It's an almost perfect copy of the motor bogie, apart from it has open axle boxes for the sleeved wheels on this model, and again we have a ladder that almost lines up with the cab door. Part of the roof seems to have been sprayed up in silver here, and the detail hasn't really been picked out separately. There are some interesting bits and pieces here and there, but this metal pantograph really is quite pretty, and it's perfectly sprung with two separate springs to exert just the right amount of pressure on that overhead wire. Looking at the pantograph from above here, we can see the skate which makes contact with the overhead cable. Now this gets dirty from time to time, just like the wheels on the model, and it needs cleaning. Looking further along, we've got the selection switch. We can choose to take current from the track or the overhead, or no current at all, and that could be useful for leaving the model isolated in a siding perhaps, while another locomotive runs in towards it. So the eye on the casting here indicates that this is the insulated side of the model. So when you place it on the track, the wheels on this side go closest to the power mast. So collections from the overhead through the pantograph and not through the track here. Really is quite nice detail there. We've got these lovely ribbed wheels which give us that great sound on the steel track. We've got these great big cogs here directly on the axles, which are driven from the worm on either end of the armature. And if you want to have a look inside one of these, I'll leave a link to an earlier video where we had a look inside one, but I'm not going to take this one apart today. It doesn't need to come apart. And we'll have a look at this side, and there we can see we've got the R in the casting, which means this is the return side. The dummy bogie has open axle boxes, as we can see here, and we've got plastic sleeved wheels on these metal axles. And it is quite nice detail. It's very similar to the motor bogie there. We've got this great big metal weight in the bottom of the model, really giving it some extra pulling power. Triang's name moulded into it, along with the model number R.644A, built in Britain. There we have the green light, and off we go. We'll have a bit of a charge around the layout now. Smoothly through the points, still got the lights blazing away and flickering there. And we'll close points number 4 behind them. Off she goes. Storming down past the station into the third radius curve. She's approaching the incline now, and we do get a little bit of wheel slip here. We have to increase the power as well. You really hear that screeching away there. If she makes it, we're going to back off the power again now. Now this set was available in a slightly earlier form in 1968, and it was R.644, and it had the Mark IIs without lights. There was also a variant on that, and it was released for a very short period of time with the Mark I coaches with grey roofs, possibly before the production of the Mark IIs got into full swing. And again, approaching the third radius curve now, we'll bring up the power, we'll make a climb, and we'll hear that wheel slip again. It really is a heavy load with all that friction on those wheels on the coach bogies. That pickup for the electric lights really takes it out of them. One last time now, across the old suspension bridge there, lights still flickering away nicely. Now as she comes down the incline section, I think we'll leave it there this week. I'm going to leave you with page 6 and 7 from the 1969 catalogue. The first year that this presentation set appeared with lights in the coaches. Thank you very much for watching. If we look back again next week, we'll have something else from this late Triang Hornby period. Goodbye now.